Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back once again, friends. Today's story, which we are going to explain, is actually the story of a soldier during World War II who, while wandering, stops at an island where a nun is already present. Now in such a situation, how both of them keep themselves alive there, we will get to see in this story. A soldier named Clark, who is sitting inside a live boat, is in a very bad condition, but still somehow he managed to survive. Kept him alive in the hope that he will definitely get some help in the future, and has been on this boat for the last several days, but today he sees a land in front of him, seeing which he is very happy and immediately stops the boat and goes near it. But he was afraid that this might be a trick of the enemy, and that is why he very calmly puts his boat on the shore and slowly moves forward where he sees a church. Now Clark 1 starts thinking that how can there be a church on an island where there is no trace of humans, but he had forgotten that God is already present in places where even humans cannot reach. Well, now that church. When he goes closer to the church, he sees a nun coming out from inside, sweeping the floor, who suddenly gets very scared when she sees the priest standing there and starts apologizing to him, thinking that maybe he is an enemy. But Clark says, "Don't worry, I'm not Japanese." She calms down and asks him to come inside. There Clark sees a person's grave, but does not ask whose grave it is, after which the nun tells some things about herself. That her name is Angelina, she is a sister, that is, a nun who preaches religion. Her people had come here to Stapu to show the good path to some people, but they did not know that there was a gathering of enemies here. They made this mistake. When Father John comes to know about this, he insists on coming to his people, but he was so agitated that he could not travel alone, so I agreed to come with him. She agreed to take it, but by the time we reached here, they had taken our people away from here. After that, we did not know anything about them. Some people even believed that they had given all the sisters away, and she even killed some of them. When the father came to know about all these things, he could not control himself, and due to this he died. She points towards the grave and tells that it was I who buried her there with my own hands. Since then, I have been living alone here, and no one came to save me. They think that I was also killed. After this, Clark starts telling him his story that he is an American Marine. His ship was attacked by the enemies, but his luck was good that he survived, and he also got a boat, due to which he is sitting here in front of her today, that too in a alive condition. But the situation outside is very bad. No one cares about anyone's life. I am amazed how you have been able to keep yourself alive on the island for so long. The nun starts laughing but does not answer. Now after some time, both of them start looking for something to eat. Clark helps her in this and a mountain. To climb up there, he breaks some coconuts, and then he gives them to the nun. During this time, he also finds a cave there, but he will go inside it some other day. For now, he needs to eat heavy food. Then he sees a turtle swimming in the sea, which is called to catch him. He sits on his boat and asks the nun to also sit. Now both of them go after him, but it is not so easy. Clark even falls into the water once, but in the end, he catches her. During dinner, Clark tells him that he has traveled 300 miles on this boat, but in between he never felt afraid because he was sure that this war would end soon. He also tells that he is an orphan, and he lived in an orphanage for 14 years, but then after that he decided to join the army so that he can do something for his country. On the other hand, the nun says that she too is in the same situation. Kind as an orphan, but she always wanted to stay close to God. That is why she thought it better to become a nun so that she can show people the right path. I get a lot of pleasure in this work. Here Clark also tries to flood her, but she ignores that thing, and then they see something in the sky, which are Japanese fighter planes. They have to avoid them by any means, otherwise, if they see them, then both of them will be killed. That is why Clark tells none about that cave. He tells what he saw this morning, that they will be safe if they stay there. Both of them run to that mountain and hide there. After some time, when Clark looks outside, the enemies have burnt the entire island everywhere. The bus was burning, in which the church is also destroyed, and only ashes were left, seeing which the nun becomes very sad and tells Clark that you will not be able to survive like this. Meanwhile, they see that many Japanese soldiers. They are entering the island. Perhaps they sense that someone is living here, and when the clock wakes up the next morning, it sees the view outside. Everything was over. There was only one way for it to go out from here. They burnt the live boat, and that too. Now how will he get out of here? The nun was crying after seeing her burnt church, but then her eyes fell on the shore where some soldiers were coming in, and their number was very high. So both of them hide inside again, and the nun says that I do this so that I give myself to them, so that you will be saved, but Clark refuses and explains to her that they will treat you like that you thought. This will not happen, so it is better to stay hidden here. This is right for us." And in the evening, when it gets dark, Clark secretly goes to the seashore and starts fishing from there to eat something. But in the meanwhile, a Japanese boat comes there, because of which he has to hide there. He has to do this for a long time because they are on patrol. If he goes back to the cave, he will be killed. Hence he is forced to cover himself with black mud and hide in his camp. He has to go there and starts collecting some food items, but meanwhile some soldiers come and sit there due to which Clark has to spend the whole night there. Next day, when she opens her eyes and sees that Clark is not there, she starts getting worried. On the other hand, Clark fills many food items one by one, and then when the enemies go out for practice, they leave from there. But here, when the nun hears the sound of bullets, she thinks that perhaps Clark was killed by them. And that is why she starts crying by placing her head on the stone. But in no time, Clark comes there and tells her a lot. She tells him that she should not come out of the cave because there is too much danger here. Now he takes her and immediately locks her inside and advises her never to come out again. After a while, he shows the nun his bag in which she has food. Had stolen the belongings from that camera, but the nun was very nervous, and she told the clock that from now on, if you ever go out, then you will have to inform before going, otherwise I will keep going out like this again and again. Hearing this, Clark promises her that it is okay. This will not happen from now on. Now one day Clark brings a comb and a red rose for the nun and to flirt with her. But the way of flirting was a bit casual. After all, what will she do with that comb? She keeps that red rose with her as a gift. Clark asks if she can leave this profession of nun, and she says that it is possible, but for that I have to leave everything. And if after becoming a nun she goes back to the same worldly life, then God never forgives her, and after death her body always remains in pain, and says here, and also tells that we are given 5 years to become a nun, so that we can live in these 5 years. It took years to think and take the right decision whether we really want to become a nun or not, and there is still 1 month left for me to turn 5. Then suddenly he hears some voices. When Clark goes out, he sees that the Japanese soldiers are leaving from here, which is a good sign for them. Now both of them are very happy and share this happiness with each other. Then, seeing the right opportunity, Clark pours out his heart to the nun and tells her that as he gave her that red rose this morning, the same way he wants to give her every day, he wants to serve her and spend his whole life with her. This time in his life is very precious because in this he has fought with death. If you had seen the situation a few days ago, you would not have believed how I survived. Do you know that for us young people, our country comes first, and that is why we leave our family and everything and go to fight for the country? Sometimes we feel very lonely, and you change your decision of becoming a nun in the next month, and in such a situation nothing will happen to you. Then she says, "Do you see this ring in my hand? It is of silver. We wear it when we take an oath in the name of Jesus that we are getting ready to become nuns, and when we become nuns, i.e., after 5 years, we wear the gold key. This is our custom, and our life goes on with such simplicity." Hearing this, Clark becomes sad and goes and stands on the shore. Then Nana comes to him, whose real name is Angelina, to whom Clark says that maybe your decision is right because I will spend more time at the border. I will stay, and in such a situation you will not know whether I am alive or dead. Now that night they are having dinner when suddenly Clark gets a Japanese drink in his hand, and he opens it to drink, and he also gives it to a nun, but he drinks so much that obscene words start coming out of his mouth, like what will she do by becoming a nun? It would be better if he marries her. He also starts forcing himself on her. Angelina gets up from there and goes away and spends the night in the forest. When Clark wakes up the next day, he doesn't see the nun anywhere, and he runs into the forest where she was lying in an unconscious state. Her clothes were raining. Because of this, he got wet, so he immediately brings her to the camp. But then the Japanese soldiers had returned. Now he immediately takes her to the cave, but here the nun needed warm clothes, and here she risked her life. He goes to the Japanese camp and starts stealing warm clothes, but this young man sees him, after which Clark is forced to believe him, and then hides his body and buries it on the shore, so that no one can find him, so that no one has any doubt on him. After that he brings those warm clothes and makes the nun wear them. When she regains consciousness after 2 days, she is surprised to see herself in such a condition that who changed her clothes, and then she sees the priest sitting near her who tells her that she was about to die, and that is why he changed her clothes. Hence he also apologizes to her because he did not do it intentionally, and the nun also forgives him. And finally she says that it was not because of you that I ran away from there last night, but because I could not hear the things you told me. That is why I left from there. After some time, the sound of gunshots comes from outside. Then Clark tells I was wrong in thinking that they have come back again. That is why we have to do something. Maybe God does not approve of me becoming a nun, or maybe he wants both of us to go to him together like he did to Adam. And he had sent Eve. Similarly, he has sent us here. But now our work is over, but Clark does not listen to him and goes outside and sees that fire is burning all around the island, and he finds the dead body of his companion, because of which they are searching everywhere for her murderer, and now they will kill him at any cost. When Clark tells this to the nun, she gets upset and starts praying, but Clark decides. He says that he will go and surrender himself to them so that his life will be saved, but the nun stops him from doing so, and then some voices come from outside. They had found that cave, and that is why they say to these two, "All the people inside should come out, otherwise we will blow up the cave from inside." Now Clark has no answer, so he goes quietly and sits back. He accepts his death. On the other hand, the nun also starts praying to him. Both of them think that this is their last time, but then friends start hearing some sounds from outside. It seems as if bombs are exploding outside. They all start shouting. Clark understands that American soldiers have come out, and that is why all the soldiers, they are running, but these bombs are falling everywhere. That is why it is not safe for them to go out. It is better that they stay here and keep praying. After some time passes, a thought comes in his mind. He immediately stands up and says that if the Americans come here, they will get trapped in the bombs laid by the Japanese and will be killed, so I will have to defuse them by whatever means. Only then they will be able to reach us. He goes out and sees that no Japanese soldier is there. There is nothing left. Bombs are exploding everywhere, so he starts defusing them one by one, and finally he destroys the main machine so that it stops working. This hurts Clark. Also comes, but he had saved the lives of many soldiers. After some time, everything calms down, and both of them come out where the nun treats him and bandages him. Then the priest says that now may be our end. "We are close. We may never meet again. This may be our last meeting," says the nun, "but I will always keep you close to my heart because you have given me hope to live so many days. You will always be my best friend, even if no matter how far away we are." Now both of them become emotional, and suddenly a US Marine comes there. Seeing him, he asks for a cigarette. Then after pressing it in his mouth, everyone starts carrying him on a stretcher, and the nuns also follow him. The story of these two was present, but remained incomplete, but it will always remain alive in the hearts of both of them as a good memory for both of them. So friends, this is how this story ends. Let's do 350 comments and 3,000 likes on this video. Don't forget to complete it. See you in the next video. Peace out. If she stays alive, then friends, this is how this story ends. Let's aim for 350 comments and 3,000 likes on this video. Don't forget to complete it. See you in the next video. Peace out. If she stays alive, then friends, this is how this story ends. Let's aim for 350 comments and 3,000 likes on this video. Don't forget to complete it. See you in the next video. Peace out.